What could a white conservative man be discriminated for? Well, it turns out just that, at least according to ex-Google engineer James Damore. Damore was fired after he wrote a lengthy anti-diversity memo to the entire company. In his memo, he argued that men and women are inherently biologically different, essentially saying women are inferior to men in most lines of work. Now Damore is fighting back with a class action lawsuit against Google for discrimination. California attorney Emily Campagno weighed in on how the lawsuit has become a representation of the deep partisan divide in the United States.
He's saying that he felt like he couldn't speak out at work about his views because he would be treated like a gay person in the 1950s. Do you think something like that will go over well in court?
You know, he's likened his experience there to being gay in the 1950s, and whether or not his attorneys bring up that analogy in court will be up to them, right? That kind of goes to their plays at trial and the theatrics and the theory of the case that they'll present. But what's more important here, I think, it really is the insight into Google's underbelly. Now, remember, the Department of Labor is presently investigating Google for its hiring practices. They have been the defendants in multiple lawsuits for gender discrepancy and sex discrimination from females. And granted, there have been a few logistical wins that they have amassed along the way, but the media is covering it as wins for Google when it's really not. Many of those were purely procedural wins on their part. So I think that as plaintiffs tighten their buttons and really zip up their cases in terms of these allegations and these charges, we're going to see stronger suits moving forward, and perhaps Damore's is one.
The former engineer said he was harassed and vilified for his conservative views and has become a hero to some conservatives around the U.S.
We are absolutely seeing a prevalence right now of judgments made and snap decisions made about people's points of view and their party lines, right? We're seeing it all over social media. We're seeing it in conversations. And frankly, if you are in either a red city or a blue city, try saying the wrong thing and you will likely get called out. But does that rise to the level of discrimination in the workplace? Are we seeing it there? Now, from what I am aware of, a lot of it has just come in the form of muting, of self-muting, where people don't feel comfortable sharing their real opinion because they feel like the majority feels differently than they do. Whether it rises to that level of discrimination, though, is important because that's a distinction that is absolutely unacceptable as well as illegal. And so that here is what Damore is arguing. Like, look, this wasn't a coffee shop discussion. This was a workplace. And it's absolutely unfair, unjust, and illegal for you to treat me differently because I was open with my conservative views.
Psychology professor William Cunningham gave us his take on what the issue means for the current state of partisanship in America.
In many ways, I think it tells us a lot about what's going on right now in the way that we're understanding politics, the way that we're understanding each other, where it's interesting because he wrote this memo, and I'll admit, I don't agree with everything in it. But not everything in it is, of course, entirely wrong also. And it's been amazing just watching everyone's response to it. You have some people deciding that he's the most devilish person of all time and he's gotten all the science wrong. Right? Then you have other people who are saying, oh, look, he's gotten all the science right. He's going to finally stand up for all these oppressed white males in a sense. And the memo was really kind of neither of these in the middle. Right, looked like he was trying to work through some ideas about gender.
I think it's interesting that you use the term oppressed white male.
Yes.
Because is that a thing?
I have no idea, I'll be honest. I think that there's a lot more attention to this as a category, and admittedly, it is the group, if you believe in groups like that, that has been kind of the dominant force, for some time.
What do you think it says about the political divide in the U.S. right now? Do you think it is a political thing? Yes, conservative is usually associated with Republican.
Yep.
Has it gotten that bad?
I think so. And I think that no matter what people do, all information has become politicized. Watching this thing happen and watching how politicized it became, we had exactly the wrong discussion. The discussion we should have had was, do any of these ideas have merit? Or which ideas have merit, how much merit do they have, and what does this say about what we want to do politically, rather than it's right or wrong and has to either be shut down or fully believed.
You know, in the long run, what do you think comes of this memo and this whole deal?
I'm hoping that we can turn the page on it. I think that what happened was entirely wrong on all sides. Right? I think the outcome of the Google memo, no one came out in a positive light. And I'm really hoping, rather than battling this out, having winners and losers, right, that we can use this as an opportunity to discuss a really important issue, right? Obviously, there's stuff that we need to fix about gender. I don't know if all of my team's ideas are exactly the right ones, right? I don't know if the other team has some ideas I might want to integrate, right? But I think we're going to come up to much better answers together than we will apart.